Okay, this is 4.9. So what you're going to do is you're going to change it to an equal sign, and we're going to factor it. Now I hope you can begin to appreciate every time I was doing a warm-up, I kept putting factoring problems. It was meant for your good because I knew that you were going to need that skill. And you're going to need that skill later as well, so we're going to keep factoring when we do warm-ups. And remember from the video, check your work when you factor. Just take a brief moment to make sure that works. And so the solutions are x equals -4 or x equals 1. And these are called critical numbers. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make a number line with the critical numbers. Because the original inequality has less than, these are open circles. I like to do it right here. And then we're going to test true and false. So, and I don't do mine above, I like to do mine below. So I'm going to pick -5. And I'm going to get -5 squared plus 3 times -5 minus 4. And does that produce a number that's less than 0? So I get 25 minus 15 minus 4. And can you tell 10 minus 4 is 6? 6 is not less than 0. That's false. Then 0 is our friendly number, and you would get -4 less than 0. That's true. And then let's try, let's say 2. 2 squared plus 3 times 2 minus 4 is less than 0. And that's false. Now, if it helps, I'll do it like the opening example. Whoa. I don't know what just happened.
Hit the undo button. Hit the undo button.
Undo? Is this the undo?
Yes.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, we're going to pretend that we can still see that. I'm having difficulty with my board. Okay, so now it was true in between, all right? We're just going to pick up, I don't know what happened to the board.
It changed it all to text, like everything that you wrote.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. I don't know how I did that, but okay. So now, if you remember back to Algebra 1, that's -4 less than x less than 1, and that's my solution. All right, before we do the second one, I want you guys, and there was a good reason why I've asked you to hold on to your homework. We'll get to that in a moment. But I want you to find keep that paper nearby, okay? Because we're going to come back to it. But I want you to find your notes. And I want you to, we're going to jump to example 4. We're going to skip example 3. And what you want to do, if we look at example 4, it says solve x squared minus 2x is greater than 15. You want to move everything to one side of the inequality before you make it an equation. So I have x squared minus 2x minus 15 greater than 0, and then we're going to set it equal to 0. And then we factor it. So then x equals 5 or x equals -3 are my critical numbers. And what you do with the critical numbers is you put them on a number line. They're open because it's a strictly greater than symbol. And then we're going to test. But you're going to test here, okay? You're going to test in here where you have a 0. So let's pick -4. I have -4 squared minus 2 times -4 minus 15. And I want to know if it's greater than 0. So I get 16 plus 8 minus 15. Can you tell that's positive? We don't really care what number it is. We just need to know, is it positive or negative? Okay. Then let's check our 0. That gives me -15 greater than 0. That's false. And then let's pick a number to the right of 5. Let's say 6. So I get 36 minus 12 minus 15. And as soon as you can tell whether it's true or false, you can stop, okay? So now, if I want to figure out how to write this, it's true to the left, it's true to the right. And so this is x is less than -3 or x is greater than 5. So you did this back in Algebra 1 where you would have solutions and you would sketch them on a number line. We're now working in the reverse direction where I have the sketch and I need to write the inequality. So when it's two pieces, it's an or. Okay, I'm going to give you a head start on me and I want you guys to try example 5. Now on this one, are the circles open or closed? Good job. You do need to check that. They're closed this time. Okay, on this one, where you get 0 greater than or equal to 0, is that true or false? That's true, isn't it? Because it can be equal to, so that's true. If I plug in 0, this one's false. Now, if you're starting to get the hang of this, you do not have to do this step right here if you can do it. Do you see that that's going to be x less than or equal to -7 or x greater than or equal to 3? You only do that extra step if you need to see it, okay? All right, questions on this? All right, now, did not collect your homework yet because I want us to turn to the second page and I want you guys to try 23, 24, and 25 because then when I collect it, I'm going to look at this, okay? And actually, we're going to do 26 to 28 as well together. And then we're going to go back to that first paper and do number 2. Alright, so again, on your homework, I want you to try 23, 24, 25 on your own. And remember, you have the answers. While you're doing that, I'm going to multitask and I'm going to pass out tonight's homework with the solutions. But I do want my solution sheets back tomorrow, so don't write on them or
Are you gonna pause the recording?
Because I really don't know how. I turned it off accidentally.
So you said we don't need to write the one and two?
You don't need to write the second line. This one. Like, you have to do this one, but you don't have to do this second one. That's what I meant. Okay? But most students do like to do that. Remember to check your answers, okay? Check your answers, you've got them there. Number 25. Remember how to factor there. So x equals -1/2 or x equals -6 are the critical numbers. answer on that one was in between -6 and -1/2. Okay, questions on 23, 24, or 25? Okay, getting the hang of it with solving them algebraically. Now, I want to make a connection to the graph because we're going to do 26, 27, and 28. Okay, so if you guys will take your calculators out, and in your y screen, I want you to enter 2x squared plus 13x plus 6. Okay, so I want to either show you for the first time or refresh your memory a new feature on your calculator. Okay, and this is number 25, just the quadratic part, 2x squared plus 13x plus 6. Okay, now do zoom 6. I know I've been messing around on here. Now we know that we have a parabola that opens up, but on my window I can't see that vertex. I can't see that minimum. I know I need to go down a little bit further. So that's my responsibility as the algebra student to adjust my window. So if I want to move it down, that's y minimum. So let's make that -15, see if that does the job for us. Okay, I changed y minimum to -15, and that's pretty good. Okay, now what I want to show you is two things. One, a connection to the graph. We wanted that to be less than 0. Well, where is the parabola less than 0? It's in between the -6 and the -1/2. Do you see that? That's where it's below the x-axis. Above, and so this is where the two pieces come from when it's greater than. Okay, when it opens up. So now here's what I want to show you. We can actually, and this is leading me to the next problem we're going to look at, is sometimes they won't factor. And so one way to find out where those x-intercepts are, the solutions or the critical numbers are the x-intercepts. And so your calculator will do that for us. You press second, trace, and number 2 says 0. So we're going to press a 2, and then it says find a left bound. And here's what I want you to do. We're going to go get the -6. Okay, the one that's -6. Alright, here's -6, and when it says get a left bound, that means I want to get a little bit to the left of it. And you press enter. And then it says get a right bound. So we're going to move it a little bit to the right, and you press enter. And now, you either have the two little triangles or you have the two dashed lines with it. Do you understand that that x-intercept needs to be in between the two triangles or the two dashed lines? And on guess, just press enter. And it's telling me, this is good that this happened, if the 0 is -6, it's telling me y is 1e -12. That is a rounding error on the calculator. That's 1 times 10 to the -12, which is 0.00000000, 11 zeros and then a 1. It rounded to 0, okay? So it's just rounding. Now let's go practice again and get the one on the right side. So you're going to do second trace, number 2 says 0. And it says get the left bound. So I need to move all the way over here to close to -1/2. But you need to be a little bit to the left of it. And you press enter. Then you're going to move a little bit to the right and press enter. And on guess, press enter. And so it's saying -0.5 and y is 0. Okay, So now, on your 4.9 homework sheet, let's look at the word problem there. It says the path of a football kicked from the ground can be modeled by h equals negative 0.02x squared plus 1.2x, where h is the height, how high up the football went, and x is the horizontal distance. So like if you were kicking from the 20-yard line and it went to the 50-yard line, the horizontal distance is 30 yards. But how high up it went is the h. Okay, it says the crossbar on a field goal post is 10 yards above the ground. So they're saying this is 10 yards. It says in 26, write an inequality to find all the values of x where the ball is high enough to go over the crossbar. So here's the deal. You want the height. In order for it to go over the crossbar, it has to be greater than 10. Because if I let it equal 10, what's going to happen? It's going to hit it and bounce. Sometimes it'll bounce in, but most of the time it does not. Okay, so that's 26. Now 27 says, let's solve the inequality. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to subtract 10 from both sides. And then I do not want to attempt to factor this, right? I mean, that would be nasty. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to go to your calculator, and in your y screen, we're going to enter our inequality. Negative 0.02x squared plus 1.2x plus 10. Oops, it's minus 10, right? Minus 10. Alright, and let's suppose we shut our brains off momentarily and we press graph. Okay? Well, let's pretend we're just not thinking, because we're going to do that sometimes. And what kind of parabola should I see? Does it open up or does it open down? It opens down. So do you see I have a very, very small piece of this? Here's how you can, in a very logical manner, now I have to change this because of what I was doing in pre-calc. I'm going to change my calc. Okay, so let's go second graph. Second graph gives me a table. And if I start looking, okay, this is why I see what I see. When I get to x is 10, it's 0. Y is 0. So let's keep going. This parabola is going to go up and then it's going to come back down. Alright, now what's interesting is when I hit 30, now it's taking off on its own. I did this last period. I don't know what I did. But when you hit 30, do you see it's coming up? And then it's going to take 30 to go back down. So we need to go to our window, and we're going to change x minimum to 0. And let's go a little bit further. Let's go, say, 65. And we'll go by 5s. And we'll leave the y's alone. That's a much nicer looking parabola, isn't it? So sometimes you have to mess around with the window and you can use your table feature to help you. Okay, now what I need is I need to know this number here on the left, the x-intercept, and this one. So here we go. We're going to practice what we just reviewed. Second trace, number 2. And let's go get the 0 on the left. Press enter. Press enter. And it's at 10. Wow, that's a nice number. I'm going to go write that down. X is 10. And then let's go get the one on the right side. Second trace. Number 2 says 0. And then it's 50. Now, we're looking looking for greater than 0. So on the graph, do you understand that the graph is above or it's positive or greater than 0 between the 10 and the 50? So my solution is right here. This is doing it graphically, okay? And then 28 says, a player attempts to kick a field goal from 52 yards away. Will the ball have enough height to go over the crossbar from this distance? No. My answers are only between 10 and 20, right?
But didn't we just ask if it would go over the crossbar? Not letting it go in.
No. This is all the x values that would make it go over the 10. So only x values between 10 and 20 work. So if he's 52 yards away, it's with that equation, it's not going to go over the crossbar. It has to be between 10 and 20. He has to be 10 feet away or 10 yards to 50 yards away. If he's 52, it's going to fall short of the field goal.
Oh.
Okay, do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now I want you to go back to that first handout I gave you, and we're ready to actually do example 2 now. It said solve x squared minus 3x plus 2 is greater than 4. So the first thing you're going to do is subtract the 4, and then this one does not factor. Okay, this one does not factor. So, I'm going to actually show you a third way to do this. One way was factoring, a second way was graphically. Now, if it doesn't factor, remember what I told you is we could use quadratic formula. So everybody should have the program now. So let's go to our calculator and press second mode or second quick. And I want you to press program. And there should be your quad form that we programmed the other day. And it says enter A. Well, A is 1, B is negative 3, and C is negative 2. You press enter, and it's giving me, let's round just one decimal place, 3.6. Or negative 0.6. So then what you're going to do is you still need to do a number line. If I plug in 0, I get negative 2 is greater than 0. That's false. If I plug in 4, that's true. And let's say we do negative 1. That's true. So my solution is x is less than 0.6 or x is greater than 3.6.